Okay, hello class. My name is Nigel He, and this is going to be my final research project. I chose the oral video presentation for my Ethnic 40 class for Evergreen Valley College, Vietnamese American Culture. Okay, a little bit about me is my name is Nigel He. I'm a first generation American of Vietnamese and Chinese descent, and I'm a sophomore at Evergreen Valley College. This is my second year, so I'll be finishing up and transferring to Cal State Long Beach in fall of 2025 this year and pursuing a career in business administration and majoring in it. I'm also aspiring to be a radiologic technician, so a X-ray technician. And a bit more about me is my family is from Hanoi, Vietnam, and they moved to China during the Trek North during the Vietnam War. And they're a fourth wave immigrants, so they came from China to America in the 2000s. And then they had me here. And while I was born in America, my family were from Hanoi, and then they moved to China and then came here. And now I will be showing about my interviewees. So a little bit of context is I interviewed two individuals. They're the same generation, around the same age, but they came at different ages, and while they were here, they migrated here at different ages. So we're going to be comparing and contrasting them as their experiences would differ as Vietnamese immigrants, but from different ages. So we're going to be doing my table of contents. So first one is basic biographical data. The second one is migration and settlement. Third one is race and ethnicity relations of the future and their identity. And the fourth one is the reflection and their conclusion. So my first interviewee is Jia Kong Lei. He is 19 and currently a Vietnamese immigrant from Da Nang, Vietnam. He's currently a student at UC Berkeley studying business administration, and a little bit about him, he has a sister in Vietnam that still lives there and an adopted brother here that was born in America. And there is also my second interview is Q Tung Young Nguyen, Olivia. She's 25 and she's also a Vietnamese immigrant. She's from Saigon, the south of Vietnam, currently called Ho Chi Minh City. And she's currently a student at community college studying accounting, business accounting. And she also has a brother in America right now. And this is a direct pathway between Vietnam, currently showing Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, to SFO, San Francisco International. It takes about 26 hours direct to get here from Saigon directly to SFO. That shows the time it takes to book a flight from there, the old world, to the new world in America. So I'm going to be going over the basic biographical data of Jia. His full name is Jia Kung Lei, and he was born on the January 2nd of 2006 in Phu Yen, Vietnam. He's currently a full-time student and a freshman year at UC Berkeley that's finishing up this term, his freshman year. His parents are double age, a manicurist, so the mother works at um a shop for manicures and pedicures, and the father was a painter and then switched to elementary education when he came to America as they needed fast-paying careers. He has one younger brother here that was born here and is currently in the third grade of America, so still in elementary school. And he has one year older sister that still lives in Vietnam as a tattoo artist, as she was not a, they were in different families, and so only one of them can come to America. The other one is Q Tien Tuan Dong Nguyen. She prefers to be called Olivia as it's hard for Americans to pronounce her name. And she was born on May 5th of 2001 in Saigon, Vietnam. Her full occupation is a full-time student, business degree at Consumnes River College in a community college here. And she went to high school in Vietnam and is now studying business at community college here in America. Her parents are named Vin Nguyen and No Q. They're accountants and they had bachelor's in business from Vietnam universities. She currently has one sibling, a brother here in America, and he's has a job here. From migration and settlement, we will be showing how they migrated here to America. So why did Majia and his family migrate here? For him, it was because of education and better opportunities. They were sponsored here by his aunt and other family members, and decision was made over the course of a decade since they had their whole lives in Vietnam and they didn't want to uproot their whole lives just to come to America and start a new life. But when they did, they flew to San Francisco International, where they were received by relatives already in the US. Their settlement in America is they live with Gia's aunt in Sacramento when they were just newly freshly arrived here and to gain a bearing and be able to afford their own housing. This was around 2010, so it wasn't hard for immigrants and new people to get housing as much as it is now. And the neighborhoods they first got into when their first apartments in low income housing, Gia described that it was unsafe, there was gang activity, and then they moved around to other apartments that were much safer compared to the first apartment. Current finances of the family when they arrived is that they lived off of family support and savings until they got jobs and were able to afford housing and living here in America. And currently, with his own, currently right now, he still lives off of family support and savings. There was no immediate job for them when they got to America, so they had to work like odd jobs and very grueling blue collar jobs. And Gia currently doesn't have a job as of now, as he's a full-time student. Family proximity, they live in South Sacramento, California, where their community is very close to each other, and it's not a big city, so it's very close where Gia could drive about 10 minutes and then he could visit most of his family that lives in South Sacramento. So, and then we have Olivia. She is here to study abroad and have more opportunities. She didn't come with her whole family, it was just her, and she was here to study abroad and to have new experiences. She's described as a sojourner, so a short-term immigrant, and a voluntary migration. So she chose to came here and she knows that she's not staying here forever. She was sponsored by some relatives that were already in America and her brother that was already in America too. Because of her when she was a young age, because of influences from around, she chose to study abroad. And then when she finally got approval and had the funds, she traveled here by plane, but which, as I mentioned earlier, takes about 24-hour direct, and came to America. When she arrived, she lived with her brother, currently lives with her brother, and is looking for an on-campus job as an international student since she's on a study visa that doesn't allow her employment in the US. She lives in the suburbs right now that she describes as friendly and gets along well with her neighbors. Currently, her finances consist of sponsorship because of her accountant's parents back in Vietnam and her personal savings. So we're going now into race and ethnic relations and identity of Gia. He currently identifies as a Vietnamese American first generation immigrant, which is his ethnic and racial identity. The organization he has affiliation with is mainly since he's a full-time student and spends all of his time at school, he's really only a part of academic clubs, which currently is his consulting club called Feed, that he does as part of his major and is academic in nature. Traditions is his family is a Buddhist in religion, but his family, immediate family, does not actively practice, even though he has influence, and he still celebrates Tet and Lunar New Year, and he does have family in the temples that are full-on Buddhist. that practice heavily. His friends are mainly Asian because it's easier for them to relate as they have shared interests with games, sports, and anime. Also, since he grew up in a mostly really diverse neighborhood, so there's many friends that he could make that or that he could relate with that looks like him and were of Vietnamese and Chinese descent. The discrimination he had when he came, it was some when he newly arrived when he was a kid, but since none reported. It was just him because he wasn't able to speak English very well. He was bullied and taken advantage of by people that were already here, and they used him as the short end of the stick. So they didn't give him much preferential treatment or anything. It was just uh, attacking him and the standard bullying. Continued on is since he has now grown up in America for the better part of about 10 years now, he's preferring to have a Vietnamese partner instead of a like American partner, like partners of other races, because it's easier for him to have shared cultural identity and for him to gain his parents' approval and to connect more with the partner's family. His place in America right now is very traditional of his family. He told him to focus on school and education for now, as his assimilation to grow and have success here, so he will be assimilating. And his feelings about America is there's various opportunities for him to grow and have success, which is show that he had an opportunity to get into UC Berkeley and study business as an undergrad, which is for his program had a really, really low success acceptance rate of 4% out of tens of thousands of applicants. And he got to become a Regent Scholar, which gave him very preferential benefits. His dream now is to retire early as he wants to pursue a career in finance and venture capitalism. And he wants to be able to travel the world, go back to Vietnam whenever he wants. And he will be considered a long-term immigrant. So this is for Olivia. Her identity, she identifies as Vietnamese, not necessarily Vietnamese American, because she knows that she's only here to study and will be going back to Vietnam very soon after she finishes her degree as she's thinking of getting a bachelor's degree in business here. But since she doesn't get much aid, she's paying the international student price, the sticker price, which is very high. So she's not thinking of staying here for very long. The organization she's in are international student organizations, part of school, which are for international students such as her and other people like her, so they can relate and have advisors and like to get them situated within America. The traditions she's a part of is she likes to call with her family and like FaceTime or stuff to get to stay connected, even though they're thousands of miles away. She has a religion is the Buddhist ancestor worship religion, and she likes to make home meals. This is a term of acculturation where she's sharing cultures but still keeping them. Her friends now, she has mainly Vietnamese friends, but she has friends from Brazil, China, Korea, and American friends. Since her international student organization exposes her to a lot of friends of other races. So because they are so different and so similar too, they have shared and introduced traditions as they are the outsiders trying to get into American society. So this would be a kind of an ethnic enclave. So in the beginning, when she came here for the first couple months, and she's only been here for a couple years. So she's currently 24 right now, and she came as a in 2021. Back then, there was full on because of the COVID pandemic. she experienced some of the discrimination as she was Asian and couldn't speak much fluent English. So when she was in a restaurant, she was having trouble understanding the menu, and the server was getting tired of was delaying her orders because he didn't understand her, and he was being hostile due to the discrimination, and she was mocked for the lack of English fluency. That is a term of xenophobia. So, but she is still pretty much open-minded, where she prefers to marry who she loves and not do the status to get her what she needs. Her place in America is that she feels like she's a foreigner still, but is learning how to still be a foreigner, but still be kind of fit into American society. She describes her feelings in America as beautiful, fun, educational, new, and initially negative in experiences, but since moved on. And that is our eighth turn of culture shock. Her meaningful events here are meeting new friends and traveling around the state, since she could travel around the United States and around California, where she usually goes to around from San Jose to Sacramento a lot. And when she initially arrived, she got some sponsorship in Alabama before she moved down here in Sacramento and around San Jose. Her dreams are to work in Vietnam and US, being able to come back and forth. And she wants to pursue a career in administration and accounting as her parents do, and to be able to support her family back home. So reflections and learnings here that we have done is it's important to be open-minded when you ask questions of these like to immigrants, to have them share their experiences. While they may be good experiences that they'll be happy to share with you, sometimes because they're immigrants, they may not get treated well, and they don't want to think of the bad memories that they had to endure when they come here. And then it goes into the resilience too, since Olivia, she had a hard journey adapting, but she still adapted. While Gia, he came as a child, he grew up here, so he already has a decade of experience here, while Olivia only has a few. But they still both adapted though, and they both are stable in America currently. And for me, at the end, I think I developed a deeper understanding for immigrant journeys, as I myself am not immigrant. I was born here, and while my parents were immigrants, it was hard for me to like connect and relate with them. So talking to my friends about this and interviewing them, it had me get a deeper understanding of their journey. And for the context of this journey, I wanted to ask the class and anyone else if they were an immigrant, and as obviously these interviewees, they're different from your standard immigrant of like refugees. They had a whole life turned around, but these interviewees, they still have family, friends in Vietnam. They came here voluntarily. And not like back in the Vietnam War, where there was a war-torn country and they needed to go to a new place. You know you have family and friends back home, but you want to come live here. This is about 3,000 miles. Plane tickets are expensive to go back and forth back home. How would you feel, and how would you adapt to that? So that is how my deeper understanding for immigrant journeys came to be. And my references are a article from the University of Minnesota Press from Minneapolis, called Little Saigon's Staying Vietnamese in America by Aguilar San Juan. The next one is my sociology textbook from my last term that I took sociology. I used some of the concepts from that. I used chapter 11.5 called Race and Ethnicity in America, the United States. And that is from the OpenStax Rice University free textbook. And then I also used this class's lecture slides of Vietnamese American families from the third week of class, and that are my references. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you guys all have a good term. Thank you.